The government of Emerson Mnangagwa has announced emptying of prisons. And this should not be viewed as presidential pardons. Look at the timing of this. These presidential pardons are actually done in anticipation of demos that could actually befall Zimbabwe in the next coming actually days, as Emerson Mnangagwa unleashed process of mutilating the constitution of Zimbabwe unconstitutionally, and a lot of people in Zimbabwe are opposed to this, and in a way to come up with a strategy. We know that Zimbabwean prisons are full at the moment, and if Zimbabweans were to take it to the streets, Mnangagwa government were to arrest Zimbabweans, the prisons would be highly congested. Already they are congested. So they are actually targeting it, emptying those prisons in anticipation that Zimbabweans will protest in their numbers, and they want actually to arrest Zimbabweans who would be protesting against illegal constitutional amendment with 22 sweeping changes that the regime of Emerson Mnangagwa intends to implement. Greetings and welcome to your lovely channel, the Hlonipani Global News. If you are watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. Let's hear the face of mutilation, that is Ziambi announcing this in a press briefing.
Allow me to acknowledge our Deputy Commissioner Generals, your presence, PS, Deputy Minister, Mamas, members of the meeting. Allow me to proceed to my statement. It is my distinct honor and duty to inform the nation that His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Comrade Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, has exercised his executive prerogative of mercy in terms of Section 112, subsection 1A and D of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Pursuant to General Notice 99 of 2026, cited as Clements Order Number 1 of 2026, gazetted on 20 February 2026, the President has granted a general amnesty to specific categories of convicted inmates. This executive action reflects a profound commitment to restorative justice, national compassion, and the strategic decongestion of correctional facilities to ensure they remain centers of rehabilitation rather than mere places of punishment. The 2026 amnesty is targeted and merit-based, focusing on vulnerable groups and those who have demonstrated significant progress in their rehabilitation. To benefit, most inmates have served at least 1/3 of their sentence by the date of gazetting. The specific categories for full remission of the remaining period of imprisonment include all convicted female inmates, excluding those convicted of specified offences, all inmates under the age of 18 years at the time of the order. Age is determined by birth certificates or a medical age estimation. All inmates serving an effective period of 48 months or less, provided they are not of specified offences. All inmates aged 60 years and above who have served at least 1/3 of their sentence. Inmates certified as terminally ill by a correctional or government medical officer, and this includes the visually impaired and those with physical challenges that cannot be appropriately managed within a correctional setting. All inmates who are currently serving terms at the open prison. Inmates who have served a minimum of 20 years. This includes those whose death sentences were commuted to life imprisonment. And to safeguard the public and uphold the rule of law, certain inmates are strictly excluded from this amnesty. The following specified offences do not qualify for clemency, such as murder, treason, carjacking, robbery and armed robbery, rape or any sexual offences, contravention of Electricity Act, Copper Act, Railways Act, and Postal and Telecommunications Act, trafficking in persons, public violence, and contravention of the Maintenance of Peace and Order Act. Any conspiracy, incitement, or attempt to commit the offences I have mentioned. The Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service has conducted a nationwide audit through an electronic inmate data capturing program to identify eligible beneficiaries. The total number of inmates benefiting from this order is 4,305, which includes 223 females, 4,082 males. However, for the males, 3,755 will be immediately released and 327 will be released in a staggered manner. And please be advised that inmates serving over 48 months for non-specified offense receive a 1/4 remission of their remaining sentence. Furthermore, the nation should note that the release of the 3,978 beneficiaries begins today. The nation is urged to note that amnesty is not a dismissal of the gravity of the crimes committed, but an acknowledgement of the capacity for human reform. I call upon all Zimbabweans, families, community leaders, and the private sector to receive these individuals with grace. Successful reintegration is the most effective tool against recidivism.
Well, that was the Minister of Justice, Ziambi, announcing that about, let me just take that number, again, 4,000 rather, let me just read it properly, about 4,305 prisoners will benefit from the recently declared presidential pardon, including 223 women. I don't know now why I want thousands today. Well, as I indicated before, if you look at the timing of this pardon, taking into consideration that Mnangagwa wants to extend his term of office with 2 additional years and make 22 changes to the constitutional that will entrench his authority. It shouldn't be perceived as clemency, but it should be perceived as decongesting the prisons, preparing to actually fill them again with protesters. That is what is simply at play here. It is not Mnangagwa being passionate. He has never been passionate. And also something interesting to note is that people who have violated MOPO Act, they are not going to benefit. People who have actually said something about this government, they are not going to benefit from these releases. So political activists will remain in prison. That is what the directive actually says. It's not just a blanket release of prisoners, they targeted people who have no interest into actually whom they think have no interest into politics. It's not about clemency, as we have heard from Ziambi, but there is the biggest, there is actually the biggest political plot that is at play, which necessitated these actually changes to be effected. Thank you very much for watching us. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the subscribe button. You can financially support this channel by pressing the join button and be part of our members who are the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars.